Greetings, Inquisitors. Welcome to the Holocron. This is the Week 95 update for the Darth Loquitur account. I update this account's progress every week so you can follow along, show all the character upgrades, talk about plans for the future. With that in mind, let's get into it and see what happened in Week 95. This was the week of the Executor event, Monday of this week, so here we are going into the Executor event. We still have a 6-star IG 2000. So we won't be able to complete the top tier of the event, but we do have all the characters and ships required to start the event. So that means that we can get in here and get things done at least up to the 3rd tier. That gave us 40 shards. We did make purchases for another 11, taking us to a total of 150 shards. That allows us to make a 5-star Executor, which I did on stream here. And we got that ship to 5 stars and got it started for our fleet arena and, defense and grand arena, those kinds of things. So Executor is in. Still working on the IG 2000 to get it to 7 stars. Hopefully in the next event we'll get that finished. Wampa gets another gear tier, goes to gear 12 for the account. That's pretty good. Working on these clones. Again, I committed to do the cam clones, so got to work on that. Arc Trooper gets a level here. Waiting on stun guns and carbantes for a lot of these characters, of course. That's the way it always is. Pretty much everybody will end up waiting on carbantes and stun guns at some point. I'm out of these Mark II gear pieces, so we'll make requests for those throughout the next week or so from Guild. See if we can get some of those stocked up and get back in. Get back into service on some of these low-level gear tiers. We got Tech and Echo that we're using, the Bad Batch Tech and Echo in a little Padme team that we put together, so we're going to go ahead and at least give that a little more effort. Get the levels up a little bit, get another gear tier on these guys, and at least make them so that we can make effective use of this little Padme team we've got with Moff Gideon, if it's applicable for our grand arenas. We're still working on the Profundity journey, planning on doing Jedi Master Luke. CLS is a premium team. We really need to get that CLS to relic level. Even with just a relic CLS, it's pretty good, so that should allow us to take better advantage of what we're building over there anyway. So we'll put a little bit of effort into that. Work on Admiral Raddus a little bit. We're looking for more pluses somewhere in here for the Profundity Journey characters. Cassian has a bunch of green pluses, so we're going to go ahead and lock a bunch of this stuff down. Leaves us needing that stun gun just like everybody else. Hera Syndulla needs a stun gun. We'll lock down pieces for her. Obviously have to relic her for the journey as well. We'll start committing some pieces to her. Looking through the rest of the journey, we've still got a lot of other stuff to build. We do have Biggs and Wedge, and I'm taking a look at them, trying to figure out if it'd be a good time to commit more resources to them. Even though they're not part of the Profundity journey, I'll need them for JML eventually, and it's pretty easy gear, so we may look to that in the future. Here we get the Cad Bane's Xanadu Blood, the 7th star, so that's nice. That's ready to go for our Executor fleet. The Executor itself, we were able to put a few more levels on it at the end of the week, get it up to level 80 instead of just level 75. And we'll put the skills on it that we can. We also have a star for Captain Han Solo. Again, we'll need him someday for the JML journey. Then I built Rey. So kind of a detour to build this scavenger Rey. But we did put some levels on her, level up her skills a little bit, put mods on her. And this is for Conquest. So we have a data disk that if we have a Rey in the lead spot, we get a Kylo as a 6th character. So we're going to go ahead and give that a try. We put in Rey with another Kylo, put in Kenobi with a couple other key characters, Cat, and Kenobi. And this battle takes a while, but Kenobi's soaking all the damage, and Kenobi is able to keep him alive, and of course Cat has increased the stats by quite a lot. So even with Sith Eternal Emperor here, we are able to pull out a victory with that Kylo still standing in the 6th spot. Completed a couple feats that put me very close to box 5. And then with one last battle in another one of the zones, I was able to close out that box 5 for Conquest. So with the box 5 and the pass, that does allow us to get this Ben Solo character in 6 rounds. We won't get him in the first 3 rounds, but we'll get him in 6 rounds of Conquest. So we built that Rey just to get some more feats to close out what we needed to close out there. So that was pretty good. I was struggling to find other feats that I could manage, but that'll serve me for the next 2 more rounds of Conquest after this one, and then we'll see what they come up with next. All right, so at week 95, that puts our galactic power at 4.69 million. Added 90,000 with that Executor this week. Puts us at 44 relics, 61 zetas. JMK team is still in the top 10. Negotiator still getting us top 10. Now, of course, that's going to flip over to the Executor. We'll see what that gets us. And then we're going to plan to relic Rex in week 96. Next week, the Energy Plan IG 2000 and Radis, we're taking 2 farms each on them. Xanadu Blood finished up, so we'll be done with that. Then we got Scion and Hux that we're getting on days when it's hard node. In Fleet, we're taking the Outrider and the Echelon in Cantina. We're working on Dash a little bit, signal data. We'll have to build that ARC Trooper too, so over the course of the next few weeks, we'll have to start getting ARC Trooper shards together so that we can finish him out. He's still not 7 stars for that Cam Clones team. Mods, we're focusing mostly on speed, doing a little bit of tenacity and some other stuff, but mostly speed. Refresh strategy stays the same. Squad Arena, we're doing prestige only. Again, if we're going to follow the Executor journey with the Profundity journey, we're going to need a lot of prestige, so keep buying that. In the Fleet Store, we're looking for Biston's U-Wing, the First Order ships, and then Zeta materials. Everything else is feeding the Shard Shop. So the Executor is in. Just to go through it, we did 40 shards from the event. 11 purchases from the shop is a total of 150. So it's 145 to build the ship out to 5 stars, so that's where we've got it for now. In the next event, if I get the IG 2000 to 7 stars, that'll get us the last tier, and it will unlock the bonus event. So we can get 40 from the last tier. Even with the bonus event, that would still leave us about 30 shards away from the 6th star. I don't think I'll have enough crystals saved up by then. I don't think I intend to save up enough crystals by then for the 6th star. So we'll get that extra 40. We'll get what we can from the bonus event. And then depending on how things look, we may consider taking it to 6 stars a little bit early with a couple refreshes. If it's doing okay at 5 stars, we'll just leave it alone. And we'll let it grow to 7 stars naturally over time as we complete the bonus events each month when that comes up. So could take us another year to get it to 7 stars. But again, if it does its job without being at 7 stars, then we'll leave it alone. Won't spend the crystals on that. We'll spend them on something else. Progress on Profundity. We got a bunch of little upgrades and starting to fill in. You saw that I also worked on CLS. Again, CLS is just such a good character, and having a relic CLS in a CLS team, as long as you have Chupio to share out his stats with the rest of the team, it can be quite an effective team even with only 1 relic. So we'll keep working on him, get him to at least gear 12. We'll consider relicking him up. If we don't during the Profundity journey, then for sure he'll be the first relic we do after the Profundity journey. Biston's U-Wing, I did expect that to show up more in the shop. I feel like I've seen it in there a lot, but it's on a pretty rare rotation, it looks like, so I'm not getting as many of those shards as I thought I was going to, and I may indeed have to add that to the farming routine. We'll have to see how that goes. So basically, if I get behind on Biston's U-Wing compared to where my other ships and Admiral Radis are, then I'll start farming it to keep up. So that's the idea. As long as those things are pretty much in lockstep, then they'll finish up roughly at the same time. If one or the other gets behind, then I'll have to take care of it. All right, with Rey, I was able to equip that dyad disc, get a few extra feats. I did secure box 5. I did make the decision to purchase the Conquest pass for $10. When I talked it through on the stream, I thought of it as, well, it's going to cost $60 to build a Conquest character, but really it's only $30 because the cycles overlap. So let's say I want this character and also the next character. Well, when I start working on the next character, it'll be $10 each for the primary and $10 each for the secondary on that too. So basically, it's $30 for each 3 rounds of Conquest, and that'll get you a character. Now, if you get a character that's real undesirable, you don't think you want it out of Conquest, you can save back the pass and not do it. But if you can get to box 5, and I think what I've shown with this round of Conquest is that you can get box 5 by going through to the end. So I completed all 5 zones. I just, and even some of them weren't 3-star completions, but I made it all the way to the end with mostly 3-star completions on the nodes, and then just a couple of feats, and it was enough to get box 5. The feats are specific to different factions and different characters, which often you won't have at lower galactic power. So what that tells me is even with relatively not a very broad roster and not a lot of those tags, you can still, with the Conquest pass, get the characters that you want out of Conquest. So that was pretty good. So, I mean, if you happen to get lucky and the Conquest is relevant to your roster, like say for instance that you built SLKR or Rey as one of your first GLs, you could be at low GP and still complete a lot of these feats. But let's say you worked on JML as your first GL, you went gas or something like that into JML. You wouldn't have any resistance or first order characters. I guess you'd have the Jedi training Rey, and that would help. But you know what I'm saying. So if the Conquest hits your roster in a good way, you'll be able to do it. Otherwise, you need a pretty broad roster to be able to assure that you get box 6. So without the $10 pass, as long as you can get box 6, then you'll get it in the first 6 rounds while it's in Conquest. Otherwise, invest in the pass. So it's something that I looked at, I considered, I decided to do it. So we're back to spending more or less $10 per Conquest. Otherwise, the Loquitur account will be free to play. And we'll try to grab the next few Conquest things that roll around and get an evaluation of whether or not we think it's worth that $10. Again, for me, $10 isn't too much to ask. It's less than the cost of a movie ticket for a game that I spend a lot of time in and have gotten a lot of entertainment out of. All right, that's going to wrap up the week 95 update for the Loquitur account. Executor in the bank. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you all. Remember to hit that like button if you haven't done that already. Subscribe to watch more videos like this in the future, and join us over on the Discord. We've got a link to the Discord down below. It's one of the best Discords you'll find for early play. Got a bunch of new players over there asking questions, a bunch of experienced players sharing their experience. So even if you're not that talkative, just come over there and hang out and watch what other people are saying. It's very educational. Hope to see you over there. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next Holocron.